Hello and welcome to Enquire to Choir. My name is Eva and I'm here to help you, fellow choir people. So, you are a choir person, a choir director, a choir singer, a choir conductor, a choir music hoarder, and you need to write choral music in a computer program. Great! This is the place to see how to do exactly that. Confession time. I dislike program tutorials on YouTube. Yes, I'm very aware of the fact that I'm saying this while I'm starting my own. I just want to be shown the steps I need to do the thing I need to do. And in the last video here on the channel, somewhere here, I mentioned the terrible condition one of my music score was in, and that I had to rewrite it to make it look presentable. This is a common situation when you're working with choirs. You need to write certain scores in a computer program because you're giving it to a lot of people, and not every choir singer knows how to read your writings. For transcribing things written by hand, for transcribing scores that look really worn out, for writing new music for the choir, for writing new choir arrangements, and very common for transposing the score. The program is this one. During the video, you will realize that I will never mention it in audio format. There is a reason why I had to mention it here and in the title, because I don't want to mislead anyone who clicks on the video. I don't want this video to come out as an endorsement. It is not an endorsement. While it is obvious that I use this program, and just that alone can come off as an advertisement, it is not. I can't recommend this program for a very simple reason. I have never tried any other music score writing program in my life. So, I'm not affiliated with this program or with its people in any way. I am not sponsored by them. They don't even know who I am, which I like. I pay for my own license, which is a really stubborn expense of mine. I really need this program to be able to do my work properly. Plus, the whole reason why I even started using this program in the first place is because 10 years ago, one of my professors from one of my classes I had to take during my Academy of Music education told us to use this program. So it stuck with me. I use the desktop version on my laptop. My laptop doesn't have a separate numbers keypad which is relevant for this program, and I'm very old school about it. But the way I use it is completely functional for me, so I wanted to show you this. This particular program is actually known for all of its shortcuts. And yes, I could have Googled every one of them and memorized them. I didn't do that because I don't care. I know the shortcuts I accidentally discovered on my own. I use them all the time. And every time I use this program, I accidentally discover something new. Just 2 weeks ago, I discovered I have a keyboard in the program that I can write my notes with. So that's the way I do things. But I don't think as choir people we need more than that. We need it to be functional, and this is the kind of a tutorial I always wanted to have. So I'm making it. That means I'm going to open the program. I'm going to rewrite the score we talked about in the last video. I'm going to take you through all the steps, and I hope I cover everything you ever needed. Let's start. Okay, so welcome to my screen. Let's see if I'm capable of doing this for you. If you're surprised because my wallpaper isn't music related, it actually is. The 3 palm trees are connected to my dad and the song 3 Imaginary Boys from the album Boys Don't Cry by The Cure. If you know that album cover, the original one. Anyway, before I start the program, I first press the mute button. because for some reason this program always plays the very cool but very loud music, which lasts more than a few seconds and always scares me because I forget about it. It's a beautiful music, but every time, no, just no. That said, have I looked for the way how to remove that music? That's right, no, I did not. While it's opening, you can see that it's a heavily patented program. It's protected, and you can see that you have your license number ID attached to it. And when it opens, it goes to Quick Start, designed for defining a new score. I appreciate this because it makes sense. If I'm opening the program, that means I'm about to write a score. And Quick Start immediately takes me to it. When you open a previously written score as a document you already saved in the program's format, the Quick Start is avoided, of course. For me, these options show Quick Start when it starts and show again after closing last score are convenient. So I have them checked, but you can of course suit this to your needs. Up here, there are several categories. I only use 2 of them, mostly new score and recent only sometimes. In recent, it shows me the previous things I've done in backward chronological order, but I don't use my scores chronologically, so I rarely go through recent. I mostly just open the document from my documents. The thing we are doing in this video is rewriting the score, Joy to the World, which was a heavily analyzed score in the previous video. So for this reason, I choose New Score. New Score takes me to the templates. I find them really useful and the whole process makes sense. You have groups or categories of templates, and you have the templates. It is not an indefinite list, so you can scroll through it, but you do have a search field here. Only beware, it searches the templates, not the categories as well. So for example, if you write the word choral, it will not find anything. But if you write choir, it will find everything. But you quickly learn to always find the category choral and song, which you are interested in. Under that category, there are these templates. Choir SATB, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, where every voice is written in its own staff. Choir SATB plus organ. Choir SATB plus piano. Choir SSA, so female chorus. Choir SSA plus piano. Choir TTBB, male chorus. Choir TTBB plus piano. Choir barbershop. Choir reduction, which shows soprano and alto together in upper staff and tenor and bass in lower staff. Choir reduction plus organ, hymn, and voice plus keyboard. I will comment on these. I think it is obvious in the whole program that it's stuck with the typical choir structures, but in their choir culture. For example, female chorus to be SSA in my choir culture is extremely rare. The standard is SSAA, analog to male TTBB. Additionally, barbershop doesn't even exist in Croatia. But, no complaints, just an observation. Also, whichever one you choose, you can customize it later You can change the voices, you can add everything. This is really just a template to set you off on an easier start. If you click on Open Other, it will take you to your document, so you can choose a previous score. But as said before, I'm writing a new one. So the template I'm going to choose is Choir SATB. Even though the original score I am rewriting was written as a choir reduction, reduction coming from the thought saving space and the number of pages, but I have to analyze this new score for a video, so I'm choosing the separate voices. By clicking on it just once, it opens the document setup. Again, everything you define here you can change later, but it is better to get it right while creating this, trust me. It's just simpler to do it correctly the first time than to change it later. The typical stuff, page size, portrait, landscape, you choose. The house style just changes the look. I'm a very classic person, so I don't change that, but you're probably much cooler than I. And then we get to change instruments, like I foreshadowed before. Okay, so on the left you have all the instruments, which I'll get to in a second. And on the right, there are the already defined instruments in your score. The options are add, delete, or move up and down. So let's say I wish to add the piano, so keyboard. I choose it, press add, and voila. As you can see, it added A and B. That represents right and left hand. If I want to move it up or down, it moves both, because that's the rule. Both hands have to be written together. But if you wish to delete one of them, it deletes just the one, because it's possible to be playing the keyboard with notes only in one staff. Helpful to know. When it comes to the instruments from which you can choose, you have common instruments, jazz instruments, rock and pop, and world. Now let's click on the world instruments, shall we? Remember what I had mentioned a few sections ago, choir culture? Yeah, I mean, I'm from Europe. Where is my world? Not to disclaim that any one of these instruments are originally from these regions, but the problem is that this division, in my opinion, disrespects a lot of cultures. For example, in Slavonia, a part of Croatia where my mom is from, there is a strong folklore tradition, and the main and the most recognizable instrument is tambura. I don't know where to search tambura for here, so I type it in the search bar and I get India, which is very far away. Is it an Indian instrument too, or an original Indian instrument? I'm not sure, but I will believe it is. And if any of my very dear Indian friends are watching this, hello, who knew we had this instrument in common? But my point is, what are world instruments, and whose world is it, and who divided this world, and who divided these instruments? If any of this program's people are watching, I think the division is really unnecessary. You can't win if you divide like this. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to comment on this. A simple list of instruments would be better. Rant over, moving on. Time signature. I choose the crossed C. There are two fours under, which I'm not sure what it means, When I see 7/8 and 3/2/2 underneath it, it makes sense that that's the way the bar is divided. 3 plus 2 plus 2 equals 7. However, 4 plus 4 is not 2, and that's where they lose me, and I don't want to think about it anymore. If you have a time signature that doesn't exist here, you can create it in the other section. This is an important one for me because I don't know how to do this otherwise. Pick up upbeat bar, often known as Auftakt. You put this in if you want your score to start with a bar of a different length than all the others are. So you check it and then choose the length. Beware of this. If there is something already in this space and you scroll and search for something different and click on it, it will sum it with the already written one. You have to erase it blank to avoid this problem. I don't have a pickup bar, so I will leave this blank. When it comes to tempo, you can choose or write the tempo text. There are international options as well. In my case, I will leave it blank. And now for me, the crucial part, metronome mark. Listen, even if you don't have or need the metronome mark, put it. Because this program can obviously play the score for you. And the tempo of the playback will be wrong if you don't define it yourself. Because it has a set number, 60 or something, I never checked. And it plays in that number if you don't put something here. So you will have to change it. It's much less painful to write this immediately, even just 100, because you can easily change the number later when you are in the score, and you can erase it altogether after you have finished with the score. But trust me, set this to appear to make your life easier. Key signature is key signature. You can choose no key sign, major, minor, sharp, and flats. I will choose D major. And yes, you can change this later. When it comes to score information setup, this is really useful because this defines not only how the title appears in the score, but the details are stored in the document properties as well. You will see that later. Title, in my case, is Joy to the World. And when it comes to authors, we come to the same issue with music conventions. In my world, the usual thing to do is to write lyricist and composer on the right, and the arrangement or the arranger on the left side. But here there is a composer-songwriter section, which will put the subtitle on the right of the main title, and lyricist will stand on the left side. To stay true to my culture's choir practice, I will put the composer and the lyricist in the composer-songwriter section because I want them on the right. And under the lyricist section, I will put the arranger. So, composer-songwriter, written by I. Watts, melody Antioch by G.F. Handel, and under lyricist, arranged by L. Mason. Copyright, I have no copyright on this, so it's a no from me. Create title page, I don't need that. It makes the page from the previous information about songwriters and other information. I don't need anything either. And now I press create, which takes me to my new score. And before I do anything, I save it. Because the program's format is its own, and this is not the only format you're going to have the score in, which we'll talk about later, I advise you to open a new folder by the name of the score. In it, you save everything about it. Trust me, when you have many scores sung by different choirs, this helps so much. Think of you in the future, it adds up. So I make a folder called Joy to the World, and I save it there. All set up to start writing. Okay, so first the general things. You can see here your full score. If you do this, you can do with it whatever you like. Here in the right corner, you can zoom in and zoom out. That can be very useful. For example, in this case, as you can see, when you first start, there is the title, Joy to the World. On the left, on the right, the subtitles, as we talked about. This is what I talked about the metronome mark, because it's very easy now to change this number. But if you erase that, I don't even know how to bring that back. So this is the reason why I told you that this is the best way. And as you can see, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. These are the clefs, the standard clefs, D major, crossed C, and the amount of bars it gives you at the very beginning is 16. Now let's go through this ribbon a bit more logically. This save, undo, and stuff, the standard cut, copy, paste is something that is very useful, and the shortcuts for that are the same, and they do the same thing as in regular programs. I will not go through everything because I don't think you need everything. Add or remove, that takes you to the instruments we talked about. In my opinion, what you need from here is add and delete. Add bar adds a bar at the end of your score. So if you click on this, you will see that it added a 1 bar. If you click delete, deletes the selected bar from your score. Do you want to delete this bar from the score? Yes, you can. You can select several bars and delete them. It will do the thing, but we can now click undo to bring them back. Okay, but if you see this error here, add bar at the end, add single bar. When you click add single bar, it will change the way the mouse looks, and it will ask of you to select where. And you do that by clicking on a bar line. Okay, and it added. In general, when the mouse sign is this color, that means that you're just selecting things. But when it's blue, like this, that means that the program is asking of you to select something to finish an action it wants you to do. If you wish to get rid of the blue mouse, you click escape. Okay, when it comes to note input, we'll get back to it. Notations. Here you have clefs, all the possible clefs, key signature, time signature, and bar line. When it comes to clefs, for example, You see, I selected the bass clef, and now I have the blue mouse, and then I, for example, select here, and it changes. I will undo this, and for example, I will choose this one, and I can also do it here. Okay. So you can do whatever you like. It's very changeable. Key signature the same. So if I wish to change to A major, I choose it and then I do this. It's simple. I can also, for example, I choose E flat major and I want here to change, and it will change it. Same with time signature, but you have to know if you choose this, it will only be from now on. And if you first, for all of these, if you first select the bars and then select a change, it will be valid for only those bars you have chosen. So whatever you wish, you can do, you can change. The same when it comes to bar line. Either you select what you want and then select the bar line, or you first select the bar line and select the type. When it comes to the view, this is something you need to start horizontally, vertically. The way the sheet is spread, do you want the next page to be horizontally or vertically? I am used to it being horizontal because that's the way I started doing the program and it stuck with me, but you can change it to vertically. Zoom is zoom. Hide all annotations, comments, that's not so important. This is important. What you want in your program to be seen, and there are 3 things I recommend. The first one is keypad. This is keypad. We'll talk about it in a minute. Keyboard is something I mentioned I recently discovered. Keyboard, okay. And in later times, mixer. Mixer is literally a mixer when it comes to the decibels or the volume of each voice. And when later, when you write something and you wish for the program to perform it for you, you can adjust the volumes to hear everything better. That is something I'm not using until I've already written the score. I will not have the check here now. I'm only sticking with keypad. Okay, so now let's go to how to actually input the notes. I've selected the note input just to make things a bit quicker, but I want to talk about this keypad. This keypad looks random, but it's really not. And it actually imitates the part of your keyboard. On a regular long keyboard, you have a separate numbers pad, the part where you have the num lock, numbers lock. This keypad imitates it. So if you look closer, you will recognize that, for example, the rests number here is a longer one because it imitates 0 from the keypad. Dot or comma is next to it. This is enter. And for example, if you press number 4, you will select the quaver. This is exceptionally done, and whoever thought of this solution is a genius, in my opinion. Okay, so let's explain stuff. Here you have a menu, and here you have a menu. This menu gives you options. The first is common notes. Most importantly, this says that it's cancel, stop, select, none. This is, choose whatever you want. Okay. this is your mouse. And whenever you're stuck, you can choose it. The rest of it, I think, is clear. These are the signs. This is staccato, this is tenuto, and this dot is for the rhythm dot. Okay, everything is known here, I hope. This is for the playback. We'll talk about it. For example, if you choose this one and you want it dotted, you choose the dot. If you select none, it's none. If you select the dot first, it will choose. If you choose a rest, it will start with the quaver and then you can change it. So when it comes to the menu, here is the first one. The second, more notes. You can see them here. The logic is the same. The logic is always the same. Here you have the mouse. This sign, fermata, in my choir culture, in my music culture, is called corona, which is a very unfortunate name. And then jazz, and then accidentals, many of them. The most common you will use, the common notes. This is the menu to select whatever you wish. This menu is voices. So voice 1 is blue, voice 2 is green, okay. Voice 3, voice 4. It's very useful because it changes the color in every way. The voices are important when you have several voices in the same staff. So then they're really recognizable by colors. Okay, and now this is the logic, how to write music. First, you have to select where you want it. So here. Then you select which kind of a note, the type of the note, the length of the note you choose. Okay, so I've chosen it. And then I enter the pitch. I just wanted to say that I've clicked on everything because I don't have the numbers pad. But if you do have the numbers pad, you can select it by pressing the keys. This would be number 4 and dot. And now I've selected the type of the note and I want to enter the pitch. I can do that 3 ways. The first way is to go to the score with my mouse and click on that pitch. This line here represents the playback. You will see that later. So this is the note. The second way is to enter it with the keyboard. I select the place, I select what I want, and I select the pitch. Or I can do this. So I select where, I select what, and then because I want it to be a D, I press D on my laptop keyboard. And voila. So there are 3 ways of how you can enter the notes, but the logic is the same. First, you select where, then you select the type of a note, which you can click or enter via keypad. And then you input the pitch by moving your pointer, by selecting the key on the keyboard, or by writing C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All of those letters represent a certain pitch, and if you enter, for example, D, you will get a D in the score. When you look at your note that you have written, you will recognize that it is blue. If I change the voice of it, it becomes green and shows that it's the second voice. Okay, so this started to be second voice, and above it, it's first. If I want to enter the first voice, I will do it. So let's, for example, say that I need a G, and I enter that I want a quaver, dotted quaver, and I want a G. Okay, so when I select this one, this is blue, the first voice, and if I select this one, it's the second voice. The same here. This is from the first voice, this is from the second voice. But in my score, I don't need the first and the second voice, so I'm going to undo everything. And let's explain a few things more. When you write a note, for example, this one, you see where it is. So it's selected. And now if you wish to write more, the program has a logic. So for example, if I input letter F because I want it to be an F sharp, I will do this. What happened? He chose the one that I've chosen before because that's what I've given it to do. So then I go back and you see here, I avoid this tie and I delete this. I just want to explain something. This is a tie. When you put them together, for example, A and A, that means that the second A will not be performed. But if you just wish a legato, you can select the first and the last and you press the letter S, and then it gives a slur. It makes a slur, a legato slur. Okay, and from the note input, I want to explain certain things. Triplets. Let's select this and say I want a triplet. For example, here, it will say this is too long to fit in this. So I have to change it to this and I will try again. So it's a half note rest, and he will do a triplet out of the whole bar. Okay. But if I do the quaver, he will do this. Okay, so you select the logic is always the same. You select which type of a note and then you press what you want to do with it. When it comes to respell, changes the enharmonic spelling. For example, this would be very interesting to see if it's F sharp. Respell, very simple. And transpose, we're going to discuss a bit later because we will transpose the score. Several shortcuts I want you to have. These made my life much simpler. So, for example, I have written a D and it's too high, and the red color shows me that. I select it, I press Control arrow down, and it will put it an octave below. If I do that again, Control arrow down, it puts it an octave below. Control arrow up, so it's simple to do that. If I wish to write a chord, this is really simple. You just press on the keyboard, on the regular keyboard, you press which interval you wish to write on the note that is selected. So for example, I want a triad. So on the D, I will first add a third. And then I want to add another third to my selected tone. So I will press 3. If I select this one, I will add 5 to get it. Okay, because it calculates the intervals. So I do this, for example, and then I press 5 to get a 7. But if I press the lowest tone, I press the 7 and you get a 7. Okay, this is very reasonable. And then if you select it, you can select it this way. You can select the whole bar. You can select the tone and go with arrows up, down, up, down. It really works. You can select 2 tones, up, down, or you can press the down, click it twice, and it will choose the whole, and you can do this. Also, you can copy it, Control C, Control V will paste it, and you can add things like this, or this, or for example, this. So it will take you some time to learn all of this, and it will take some time for it to become a practiced skill, but you have to play with it to get better at it. Okay, so now I'm going to write the soprano line in the score. Without talking, you will just watch, and then we will discuss what we can do with it. Okay, so I've written it, and let's do a playback, shall we? You go to play. You see where your line is, so that means that it will start here, and you press play. Okay, you stop. Obviously, this is too slow, so I will change the number. For example, and I go back here to the start. Okay, the problem with this is it's not logical when it comes to the layout. So I'll go to layout, and you see here, you have system break and page break. System break means you select, for example, this one, and you press it, and it puts everything in the next row. This would be very logical to have a system break, but for here I will do a page break. Okay, page break puts it on the next page. You can delete this, or you don't have to, but I will return it as it was. Okay, So I've written it down, and now if I look at my altos, I see two things. First, the rhythm of their line is the same as the sopranos, and the lyrics are the same. So it makes sense that I will write the lyrics for this particular score for the sopranos. Okay, I will write them and then I will choose everything and copy them. So the way you input lyrics is to press Control L and you start writing. When you press space, it takes you to the next note. The world, the Lord. Okay, so every time you press space, it will take you to another note. Okay, I will scroll it for you to see better. But you will see that you lost the plot. So again, Control L. Receive is the same word, but the syllables are separated. So I will do this. You write the first one and then you press the dash and you enter the rest. Okay? And this space again will prolong the note. If I wish to write the second verse, you press Control Alt L and it will, okay. With everything, you can press the right button on the mouse and choose. There is text, expression, technique, and stuff. Okay. Why did I do that? Because to save me some time, I will select this and I will copy it to the altos. We discussed in the previous video, they mostly sing in thirds. So I will put it all down a bit and then I will change what I have to. The first note is an F sharp. And D. Again, I will copy this. Okay, because it saved me some time. If I wish to have it under one breath, I will do this. And that pretty much sums it up. When it comes to the layout, you can select everything and normal staff size, you can make it smaller. You can change the space between systems and between staffs, and you can do all of that. Hide empty, show empty. When it comes to the text, you can change here the font and the style. You can input whatever you like. This is something you can play with. But my main point is that you can save a lot of time by just thinking about this. You've inputted the soprano line and then you just copy it and then you mend it to be the alto line. Okay, and now just some other things. How to transpose. We select everything and we go to note input and transpose. So for example, I want to transpose from D major to G major, okay? You can transpose by key or transpose by interval. I will transpose by interval. D and G is the fourth, so I want it to go up. I will choose the fourth. Click OK. What will happen? Okay, when something is marked red, that means that something is crossing over it. So that's not an alarming thing. And this red note shows that it's a bit too high for altos. To save us some time, I've brought on the finished product, the finished score. As you can see, nothing much has changed. Everything is the same as we previously talked about, but here are some of the things we didn't talk about. So this is full score. Soprano, you can't see it here because you need to bring the score, okay? It's somewhere on the left. Same with the altos. You can bring it. Oops. And tenor and bass. How do you do that? Well, let's do this. This is a full score. You press here, right click, parts, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, soprano. Just don't be afraid because you just have to find it. The zoom logic helps, okay? Alto. Okay, let's zoom. Here it is, okay? Why is that important? Because you wish to have this. This is a great feature. And then when you save it, okay, let's go to saving. This is the last part. If you wish to save, you just save. Show info for. You can see all of the things we have written before. I want you to recognize this. If you wish to save it in any other format than the program's format, you have to export it. You click export. Export means you can go to audio format. It plays the music for you. But I don't use audio. I do use MIDI form. That makes it better. And that gives me export. Okay. Previous version. If you wish for anyone else to be able to open your score, you have to save it in a previous version. You have to be compatible. So if you have the latest version and the person doesn't have the latest version, the person will not be able to open your file. And this is very convenient. You can save it to PDF and you have many options. You can score to one file, score in all parts, so you will get everything in one PDF, or in separate files. Score only means full score only, and it has a really good logic. Score file name, score title, part name, part number. Okay, so if you wish, you can have just the MIDI version. It will export it. The previous versions are important, and the PDF is here under export. These are all the basics. I think we've covered everything you need to be able to write here. There are many other things here, but it's not for this video, and there are many tutorials out there, even those that are official from the companies. But I do believe we've covered here everything you needed to just to know where everything is and the basic logic of the program. Now, I will comment on a few things. I know there are probably better programs out there, especially if you have a touchpad of any kind. That makes things much simpler, obviously. But I have to say that this program gets some bad reputation for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. First of all, the people who are judging it say the user interface is really bad. Actually, the comment was that it's actually the worst. I don't agree with that in any way. I do agree that it takes a while to learn it and to really figure it out. And the only way to actually learn the program is to really use it. It does become really logical. At least it had become really logical for me. Who comes to this program as a musician. I don't come to it as a person who has a degree in computing, which actually I do. But from that stance, I will say this. I am amazed by the way that the whole logic of writing music in a music score on a paper was translated to the screen by this program. I think there are a lot of details, a lot of nuance, a lot of things you wouldn't even have to think about if you're not doing this particular thing. It took a really big knowledge, a really close study of the whole process, and it's really easy to judge this kind of a program without even realizing how complicated the whole process is. Writing music is, amazing if you think about it. It has so much. It's not just about, you have letters when you write regular things, but this is a billion possibilities and a billion solutions for all of these possibilities. And if we argue that something is missing or that something is really complicated to do in certain kind of a program, well, then you do it better. You find a way to do it better. I respect the people who did this program. And I do think that the logic of the program makes perfect sense to a musician after a while of using it. For this particular program, I know you can download it from their website. There are license plans. As a person who, for the first time in her life, took the plunge in February 2020 and paid in advance for a year license, and then the whole world stopped and hadn't used the program for the whole length of the license, I advise you to really think before you buy a license. I go month by month, and in the month I pay the license for, I really aim to plan to use it. So if I know that I have to write certain choir arrangements in the following months, I will schedule it for the month I paid for. So it doesn't turn out that I write one arrangement and it takes me a week and then 3 weeks pass without me even opening the program. Obviously, while I need it all the time, I do not need it all the time. So I'm really careful about my licensing plans. And if there is a situation I suddenly need to use it and I don't have a license, I can always get it for a month immediately. That said, you could be paid the license by your choir. It is a true business expense. Yes, I said it. Okay, I really hope this was helpful. If you are one of the choir people in any sense mentioned at the beginning of the video, I hope you check out the rest of the channel. This channel was created to help all of you in some way, so you can check out all of the other videos here. There are a lot of them. And if you have any particular question you want to ask me, you can email me. If you have any other advice about this program, you can write it down below to help all of us. If you like the video, you can like it, and if you wish to see more from Enquire to Choir, you can subscribe. The current plan and aim for this channel is every Sunday new video. This is the second Sunday in a row, so I'm on a roll. Thank you for watching, thank you for being here. I hope to see you again. And I hope you're doing well and you are safe. Conduct well, conductors, and I'll see you next time. Bye!